What is up, everybody?
I like how the gong gets like an extra couple seconds to ring there at the end. It's like you
Gotta
really
be
just let the whole thing go.
Yeah, you just gotta soak it in as much as
I was
possible.
thinking we should show freightgong.com when it rings.
Actually, yeah, we could probably do that. We could modify that. That actually would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get some more animation going in there. What's up, boys?
Reed, you're sick, right?
yeah, I think basically everybody who went to Matt's is sick. I started not feeling very good like 2 days ago, and yesterday was not very good, and today is like feel like okay.
Damn,
But
we could have had an exclusive story about how everyone at Matt's got sick. That would have
yeah,
been
well,
a sick story to have.
it's breaking news now, so now
Breaking
everybody
news.
knows.
So, what kind of sickness is it? What did everyone at Matt's catch?
Nothing. I don't. I mean, it's just for me. It's just like congested. Like I'm just super congested. My face is a bit fucking full. Sinuses are a bit full, but
Got it.
I've definitely been sicker. Like it's not that bad. I've not had a fever or
Okay.
anything.
Nice.
But
Well, that's
Reed,
good.
what was the difference? What was the difference? What would you say? This year's Mats or last year's Mats was better?
oh, this year it's not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've like the amount of people that were there that were like with. I mean, our squad was gigantic. It was
How many
like
people was there this year?
that we knew. I mean,
Yeah.
we probably had 50 or 60 people show up to my thing on Thursday, and then
You
like
took over the bar.
yeah,
Nice.
and the yeah, I mean, the whole thing was full of people from. There's a lot, and the good thing about Matt's is it's cheap, right? So basically anybody can come.
Yeah.
And so there were a ton of like Twitter truckers there too. So it was awesome. I mean, last year I really didn't know like a ton of people, right? That was when I first met Lombard and first met Justin and you guys,
Us too.
obviously. Yeah.
Yep.
And so like this was like, you know, you knew everybody. And I mean, it's only going to go up from there. So
That's cool.
yeah,
It was what, 2 days? 2 days or 3 days?
No, it's 3 days. Saturday, I left Saturday midday, but like it looked like everybody, like even more people got together on Saturday night and were like playing music in some trailer or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it looked like a good day. But yeah, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But
Yeah. And then, yeah, go ahead, Reed. Finish your thought.
Yeah, no, you guys need to come. Like one of you guys needs to come.
Well, Christian's close by.
Yeah, I know.
In. Tom was there. We have TIA in 2 weeks.
I have a little bit of PTSD from Mats. Okay. Last time I went, I got caught in the middle of 14, 15 different tornadoes. So, maybe I'll consider it next year. We'll see. Maybe I'll fly. Paul, we should fly next time instead of drive.
I'm not gonna go to Matt's, but you could definitely fly. I'm just hanging out here in Poland. I'll go to like Berlin or something. You guys could do the American stuff.
Yeah, you're looking more and more Euro by the day, dude. Like
I'm wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. Look at that! Shout out Chicago Bulls.
You look like a fucking Polish dude who showed up in Chicago for like a day and bought a Bulls hat.
Yeah, I probably do look like that. I'm actually waiting on my kebab right now. So
I was just
about to eat a kebab.
Is that why it says Afghanistan?
So long.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this like an Afghani kebab place or?
Dude, I don't even know. It's like right next to my new apartment, and it's got really good reviews. And here, I can show you around real quick if you up for it. A second. So here we are. This is a top-rated kebab place here in Poland.
Do they have like the spinning meat log? Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Let's zoom in right there. Look at that.
Damn, that guy's getting you dialed, huh?
Yeah, he's getting me dialed. So yeah, waiting on my kebab.
Did you get a double kebab or just a single?
I got a single kebab. Got one. I had a double kebab in Berlin. It wasn't the best option, best choice.
Yeah.
Well-
So how is Berlin?
Yeah, tell us about that.
In Berlin, it's definitely got a lot of history, a lot of landmarks. It's big. It's got 4 million people, so it's very diverse. And there's a lot, like a kebab on every corner. Like the famous Berliner kebab, doner kebab, is from Berlin. That's like when the Turks immigrated to Berlin, they started making a lot of them. But Berlin, in terms of like freight tech, definitely like a scene out there. It's like the San Francisco of Europe. That's how I describe Berlin as. That's what people said too, and you definitely get that vibe. So, I mean, it was definitely cool. Hung out with Levity. Shout out to Tilo and Piero, the co-founders of Levity. Also hung out with the founder of Rubia, which is backed by Dynamo Ventures, and I know Sender also is out there. And I almost met up with the co-founder of Sender, but he had to he had some travel plans, so we couldn't catch up. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was cool. It was definitely a cool time. It was definitely worth visiting. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, and
This all
then
happened.
what?
This whole
What's up?
Berlin trip happened when the ship hit Baltimore, the Baltimore Bridge too, right?
Yep.
you're getting
Yep.
all
I
this
mean,
news from Berlin.
yep. My
Yeah,
kebab's ready.
I haven't really been reading much about the bridge.
Oh, I was gonna ask if you guys
Yo, Christian, pull something up from the bridge.
yeah, I'm
on
gonna do that
on
right
the
now.
screen.
Do we get kebab POV right here? All right, sick.
Can I do a kebab review live on Freight Gong Friday?
Let's
Yeah.
do it. While I pull this article up, let's go take that first bite real quick.
Wow. It's gonna be kind of weird. People are gonna totally not watch this. But, alrighty, I guess here it is.
Well, you decided to pull the kebab up on camera.
So,
Nah, eat it. Eat it.
let's talk about Baltimore.
All right, what are we giving this? And then we gotta move on to the story.
It's okay. There's one of the story. The story's
Okay,
better.
then the story's probably gonna be better. Anyway, obviously everybody at this point has heard about the Baltimore Bridge situation. And as unfortunate as it is, I haven't personally heard if they have been able to find and recover all the individuals that were kind of affected on this, either that they were on the boat or on the bridge. If anybody has any like insights into that, to more recent scoops, feel free to share in the comments. But
No, the recovery is going to take months. Like, they haven't found everybody. Somebody was telling me yesterday that like they think that like currents would make it basically like the amount of space, the amount of area that any bodies could like be in is like gigantic. So I don't think it's like a simple job to recover it. But it's like
to recover it. But like, do we know if they like actually even cleared the bridge out of the water yet?
No, they haven't. It's gonna take months for them to do that.
I don't know what exactly about that takes so long to do.
I mean, it's gonna take a while from what I hear.
Should just take a bunch of tugboats and like hook it up to the bridge and just start moving the bridge.
I think basically like, I mean, I just look at like what our resident maritime experts on Twitter talk about, and what
do they think?
I was reading John Conrad yesterday tweeted about how like the Navy basically has no like salvage ship capacity to be able to like quickly spring into action to move the bridge and stuff.
American dynamism, baby.
Yeah, we're always apparently not doing what we need to be doing from the
this. I always think about this video. I think it was in either the Netherlands or it was in China, where a bridge, I think, collapsed completely, and it was in a matter of a weekend that the entire bridge was basically removed, built, and rebuilt all in one go. And it was a pretty big bridge too. And I just don't, whenever I see situations like this, I always think about like how slow just things have become to do, at least in the public sector in the US. But
Check this out. So I just went on G Captain, which
you know,
is
share your screen or something.
yeah, sure. So here, share screen. Share screen. So dive operations. So I guess they probably were sending divers down there, but I imagine there's a bunch of like crazy metal and stuff down there. I wonder 2,000 yards saved, ongoing recovery efforts. 56 total containers loaded hazardous materials.
Oh my God.
14, so 14 of those were, I guess, maybe either submerged or hit. Did any containers like fall off into the water? Like it kind of looks like.
Oh, I would imagine they did. They had to gotten pushed off.
Because if you look at the, like, yeah, there definitely probably were some in the front. So, yeah. Let's see what else it says here. So, yeah, I mean, there's ships stuck that are, I mean, they're going to be there for for months. Like the ships that are in the harbor.
Yeah, they're it's going to be blocked until they get that thing out of the way, because I mean, I don't know what the fastest way to remove all that that entire bridge, but I mean, just literally call in a bunch of tugboats, as many as you can, even citizens, whatever, and just hook up a line and start pulling. Get that thing out of the way, and like at least so that traffic can go. Would you do that? Just hook up a bunch of tugboats and just tug the.
I think the problem is that if you look at the bridge, like there's probably portions that are submerged under the water that block passage, even if you can't see it, right? Like, I mean, it's not like the whole bridge basically collapsed. So and they probably can't go through over here or over here. Right. This is probably the only part of the bridge they can go under, is my guess.
And it's deeper.
I don't actually.
From my understanding, I think it's deeper in the center of that bridge.
Yeah, look, they can only go under right here. There's no way they go under right here.
Yeah,
that fucking container ship? No way.
The fact that this ship, when I saw the video, the fact that this ship, regardless of what you think, how it actually ended up happening, why it ended up happening. Okay, the fact that this ship didn't have a, I guess, a backup of a backup power system, and it's being sent through.
I guess no, but I think it does have a backup. I think it does have a backup power system that went on, but I think that I think something about like the rudder or like one of the other systems is not on. I'm probably getting this wrong.
You could see the power flicker off once, and that was the initial loss of control. It came back on, but by the time it came back on, it already veered it off course too much, and then it turned off again. And to me, the second time around, I mean, it was, to say the least, it seemed very, very odd that those 2 points of time happened as far as away that they did from each other, which was very short, and they happened right before that bridge, that ship hit the bridge. And honestly, the odds of that happening next to the bridge are very, very slim. They could definitely still happen, but
yeah, I don't know enough to be able to speak on this with certainty, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can't either. I'm just simply like, in terms of observations, is like, it's just very odd that it happened like exactly at that time, you know. And I don't think, actually, it would be really good to know what, if there, I don't even know if there's any statistics around this, but like, what percentage of time do ships lose their power?
Yeah, I have no idea. But look, I mean, there's a bunch of boats that are stuck in here. A car carrier.
And they can't get out.
No, they can't get out. They're stuck there.
I actually had once. I'm back actually. Bob. I actually once had a meeting with Port of Baltimore, some dude that worked there like 2 years back, and like he used to like tell me about how like they have like a lot of big customers shipping to Baltimore. So like IKEA, I don't know.
We should reach out to them right now in the middle of everything and ask them, hey, you want to come on Gong Friday? Ask them to give their take.
Yeah, the guy's gonna for sure not go. I'm on Gong Friday right now. He's probably got so many things to deal with. It's crazy.
Bro, this picture is wild.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts.
I mean, it just goes to show like how, I mean, the boat was going like what, like 5 miles an hour when it hit the bridge.
Slow. Yeah.
And it weighs, I mean, it literally, I think it weighs, I think I heard Conrad say it weighs like 100,000 tons, which is just like, that's a big, there's a lot of inertia in 100,000 tons moving 5 miles an hour, or there's a lot of energy. I don't even know what the right word is. Anyway,
that would be
8.7 miles per hour.
That container ship moving at 5 miles an hour would be enough to basically crush, I don't know, most public structures, I would say, of any kind. What else is there? I mean, that was obviously unexpected, but we don't know how much that's going to affect everything else in terms of like how much of flow of good of movements.
Well, I mean, there's just going to be a bunch of cargo that moves to neighboring ports, right?
Yeah.
And there's Dom Tulo was in the space last night talking about how its effect on like oil and DEF. I'm not going to try to remember what he said, but he said something about it.
Okay.
Excuse me. So
big, the bridge here. I'm going to pull these facts up real quick here. So the bridge itself stood for more than 47 years, which is really how far does that take us back? The 60s, 70s? 70s? No, 80s. No, 70s. Anyway, around 31,000 people cross each day. Port of Baltimore is the 9th busiest in the U.S. and it moves $26 billion in international freight a year. So
it's also the way that hazmat loads need to move. Like hazmat loads can't go on 95 through the tunnel around Baltimore, so they take. Wow. I think a lot of them take this route. At least that's what one of my driver friends told me yesterday.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. At least you have more open air as opposed to in the tunnel. How far is this tunnel? How far is the tunnel from this bridge? Do you know?
I mean, the tunnel goes through Baltimore. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. I'm going on the maps right now. Is it a tunnel? It could be.
As far as we know, 8 road repair workers fell from the bridge into the water.
Yeah, 95 is a tunnel here. Yeah, it is. It goes right under the city.
Can you pull it up real quick?
Yeah. So here's 95. That goes right under the city.
Nice.
So normally they would, I guess they would be coming down here. You probably go this way and go like that, and then
Oh, so it's
rejoin
a longer
95.
route for hazmat, basically.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's pretty good.
Do
Huh?
drivers actually know? Like, how do you know how drivers are made aware right now of that? Like, they cannot go on the route under.
Well, I imagine their navigation is like, hey, yo, this bridge is literally.
No,
I mean, it's
not
Google.
before, but like before it got hit by the ship. You know if like how drivers would have to know to avoid going through the tunnel with hazmat, for example.
There's a
Like,
bunch of road signs. There'll be road signs like up over here. Like when I lived in Boston, it was the same thing. Like 93 was a tunnel, and so was 90, and there were signs everywhere saying no hazardous materials in the tunnel. So you just have to be paying attention to the road signs.
It's a good question that Adam Battenfield is asking, which is like, did this happen? Did this only happen these times with this ship losing its power?
Good question.
Or were they having this issue before? Because if the first time they had this issue and it happened twice, like right before I hit that bridge, like there should be some other questions I think that should be asked.
It's what I was interested to learn was that like the people, like it's the way these ships are operated is like pretty interesting. They like the owner basically contracts out like everything, like
The owner of the
whole
port?
crew. The owner of the ship
Oh,
is like, I think the ship was like working. It was like under contract for Maersk or something, but it was
mhm.
owned by a different dude. And then the crew is like it's basically like a staffing company that crews the ship. I don't know if the captain is part of that. I don't know,
I
but
think the
it's
captain
like
would probably be contracted out by the carrier, the ocean carrier.
well, what's interesting, I mean, anytime you go into a harbor, like there's like pilots from the harbor that are like locals that pilot the ship and dock it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that the pilot was still on board. I could be. I gotta find this timeline somewhere. Anyway, whatever. Is there any other things that are interesting that happened this
I
week?
have one here, which is the insurance losses. So I'll pull this up real quick. The Oh, by the way, Reed, like you could keep your screen shared, but then I can like toggle between ours. So like if you have something to share quickly, then it makes it easier.
Got it. Good to know.
So the actually there's a tweet. I'll show it after this, but Baltimore Bridge collapse being the largest ever marine insurance payout, according to the chair of insurance at Lloyd's of London. So the insured losses could total a staggering $2 billion to $4 billion, which is seemingly going to be the largest amount of marine insurance payout. But we do, I believe, have a tweet. I saw this one actually taking off a little bit. Where was this? If Lloyd's of London was the insurer of the ship, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get paid out.
You hate to see it.
I hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
Unfortunately, but that's what it is.
You know, that's because most brokers and carriers don't most brokers don't allow booking with Lloyd's of London trucking companies because they don't really pay out.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, both the companies I worked for, like Lloyd's of London Insurance was not allowed.
Interesting.
You know why that is?
Because they are like a massive insurer. They're they're the oldest insurance company in the world, and they insure anything. But to get actually paid out is really a pain in the butt.
Got it. There's also this. Okay, I guess any other comments on the Baltimore thing? Any other questions? I think there was one other one. Oh, so Pedro Potato says that he has a customer who had 2 containers delivered there the day before. The day before that was set for pickup, the day of the incident. Now her operations may halt if she can't get them to another porter to get more in.
Oh.
So, unfortunate to hear that as well.
Hey, I'm gonna get some more coffee real quick. One sec. Distract everybody. 1 second.
I will. All right, there's a scam alert. I didn't get to read this too much, so I'll probably just go over it with you guys here. For those of you that didn't read the newsletter today, but so there's an Amazon relay scam. Let's see, picked up Amazon freight from a double broker. It's been supposedly a popular scam. Fake phishing email looks like a dad password. Okay, so they basically get that password, and the fraudster is able to log in, post these POs, go into Amazon. Every legit broker has an email. I guess this is just an active scam that's taking place of people logging. I don't know if this is like specific to Amazon Freight though. It seems like just people phishing for DAT emails and then posting the loads as kind of an impersonator. Do you understand this? How do you understand this, Amazon? Did you see this or no?
Hey, 1 sec.
Okay.
Let's bring Dom Tulo on here because he was recently the victim of an elaborate scam, a fuel scam that we'll talk about here. I just sent him the link. He said he would come on.
Cool. I've been trying to get a bunch of people on a Freak on Friday, like to talk about scams because actually, as a matter of fact, I was literally on a demo call yesterday or the day before, and I'm not kidding you that within 30 minutes, this guy got called by 4 double brokers, at least that when he looked them up, all basically calling him within the span of the demo itself. So that was quite, even for me, that was super alarming. But let's go. Where's Dom? What's up,
friends? How are we?
What's up, Dom?
What's cooking?
Nothing, man. How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So supposedly you're a victim of a elaborate scam, fuel scam, right?
I've been double brokered.
Fuck. How's that been?
Tell the story.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
live.
Oh, all right, cool. Let's see. Last Tuesday, we get a call to our office later in the day, looking for a full load of diesel fuel.
Tell everyone what you do. Tell everyone what you do real quick.
Yeah, cool. Dominic Tula with T&R Oil Company. We do full truckload and less than truckload diesel deliveries. So primarily to fleets. I only sell diesel fuel to fleets. Very little retail usage. So, we'll show up to fleets in the middle of the night and we'll fill each truck individually. We call it our direct fueling service. And then during the day, we'll fill like ASTs, above ground storage tanks, for larger fleets, 5,000, 10,000 gallon tanks. And this office where I'm sitting, we handle all of that. So the way that it works is somebody calls in, a lady named Maria called in last Tuesday, and she was requesting a diesel delivery. She didn't speak great English, so I handed her off to a lady in my office who was fluent, and that's not weird. We do a lot of business with dump truck folks, and primarily they're newer Americans and they don't speak English. So we handle it. Maria receives 2 documents from us. She receives a credit application and she receives a ACH banking form. So we can draft money out of their bank account directly. We don't do checks. It's just too slow. And in our business, our receivables can be $25,000 in a single day. So we need the money to move quickly. Send her all the paperwork. She sends it back by the next morning. Additionally, I run her company name, which is going by Penelope Bourbon, a New Jersey liquor distributor. I run her company name through an insurance policy I have where I can get approved to issue lines of credit. And if the company doesn't pay me because they go out of business or they just choose not to, or they don't like the color shoes I wear, I can collect through an insurance company, basically a receivable. Their credit looked fantastic on that portal as well. Everything checked out. The credit application they sent back had social security numbers, personal guarantees. The addresses matched everything on Google. In hindsight, they actually changed the Google listing, which is not easy to do. They changed the Google listing for their warehouse address. So everything looked great on paper. We dispatched our first loadout on Wednesday of last week. We get to the facility, 2 guys in a black Mercedes escort my driver to the tank to make a delivery. We're filling another fuel truck, and the fuel truck was not really labeled. But again, this is common. People reuse fuel trucks all the time as a mobile fuel tank.
What
And
about the Mercedes?
sorry?
Are the Mercedes coming too?
Yeah, so the Mercedes is escorting us to fill this fuel tank. And to be fair, that's not that weird for 2 reasons. One, we always get escorted to our first time we deliver to see the tank. And a lot of these guys, especially in Jersey, drive flashy cars. So that's not that weird. And the fuel tank being not labeled is not weird. People repurpose old fuel tanks all the time because if it has wheels, if it's a fuel truck, you don't need permits. And the United States or New Jersey is very tight with permits to put tanks down. So you don't need permitting if it's a mobile tank because it's a truck. So again, not that weird. So we put about 2,500 gallons of diesel fuel into that first truck. The 2 guys in the Mercedes say thank you. They take the meter ticket from us, and then they take the meter ticket inside and give it to somebody in the office. We don't see that happen. They say, okay, we have another 1,000-gallon delivery we'd like you to make up the street. It's another part of our company, and we just have different trucks up there. Again, not that weird. Large liquor distributor, $250 million company. You can Google it and see it. Not weirder for them to have box trucks in more than 1 yard. We do 1,000 gallons at a different area, which is just basically a truck yard with a mechanic shop. And we put 800 gallons into like a 2,000-gallon tank. Same thing, same guys, escorted, meter ticket. They take our meter ticket. They go inside with it. We leave. We're done for the day. The work gets turned in. We draft the banking information that we're given immediately. And everything looked fine for that day. They call the next morning and they asked for more diesel. They asked for another 2,500 gallons of diesel fuel. And before I said yes, I called my bank and said, hey, we drafted this bank account yesterday. I don't see the money in my account yet, but do you see anything on your side that would show that this money's been rejected? And the woman from my bank said, no, you have all the money. The money is actually like going to be in your account within the hour. So everything looks good. Okay, great. Money's moving. Sure. I'll send the next load. I send my driver out and he delivers another couple 1,000 gallons and then calls me when he's done and says, hey, boss, they want another 10,000 gallons. And when he said that to me, I like had this physical feeling. My face lit on fire. Like I was like, holy shit. I think I just got scammed. Like it just, so I get my driver on the phone. I'm like, where are you? Because I'm at a scrapyard in Wayne, New Jersey. And I'm like, do you see any warehouses? Do you see any liquor? Do you see anything that looks like you're at a liquor warehouse? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, stop. Don't go anywhere. I'm on my way. My dad and I haul ass out there. It's about 30 minutes from my office. We get there and the same guys escorted my driver as the first 2 deliveries. And those guys left by the time I got there. So we walk into the office of this recycling plant. I'm like, hey, did you guys order diesel fuel? And they're like, yeah. And they're kind of standoffish because in their defense, like what's the problem? You delivered diesel fuel, you got paid. What's the issue? So it took me about 20 minutes to like explain to them what was happening. It turns out that the people who were escorting us to these deliveries stole a company's information and were double brokering all the fuel. And when they went inside with the meter tickets, they were acting as if they were a TNR employee and accepting cash on delivery. Now, the part that impresses me the most is I've been selling diesel for 10 years. I could call 3 companies right now and say, I'll sell you diesel for $3. Cost today is $3.50. I'll sell it to you below cost. And I won't be able to line up 3 people to buy from me in a 24-hour window. So the actual fact that they built a sales pipeline is really, frankly, really impressive. Additionally, they were able to line up a supplier like me with all the right information and make me comfortable enough to do it. So long story short, or long story long, I believe the first delivery we made was totally in on it. Like totally, like even the buyer knew they were buying hot diesel fuel. The second person we went to, I know was in on it because I recognized them from some truck footage. They own the mechanic shop. So they have a book of business of trucking people. So they're definitely the ones putting it all together and calling their buddies and saying, hey, I have diesel. You know me. I work on your trucks. I have cheap diesel. But the third person had no idea. The one that I actually showed up to had no idea they were buying stolen diesel. So on my way out to the third delivery site, we already gave them the product. We already pumped the product in. I didn't realize that the banking information was fake yet. So I call my office and I say, hey, I know you don't have the bill of lading yet for this delivery, but I'd like you to bill this customer for another 2,500 gallons that we just delivered because I don't want to wait until tomorrow. So we send the invoice out like 10 minutes after we made the third delivery. When I'm in this recycling plant's office, these people were like, look, you already invoiced us. So the double broker had taken my invoice, didn't even change the name on it, and then just re-invoiced it to the person that we delivered to. So on paper, it looks like TNR Oil delivered all of it. It looks all legit. But yeah, I guess, we got double brokered and it's never happened to us. So I called everybody I knew in the fuel business and was just like, hey, this is what's going on. The company's called Penelope Bourbon, and this is the scam they're running. And they've called every fuel company in New Jersey at this point, from what I've gathered. They've even ran this scam as far down as Florida. So they've just got a system, and it's pretty sophisticated. It's pretty good. I mean, when you look at the paperwork now, knowing what I know, yeah, clearly it's not right. Like the guy signed the personal guarantee twice with the same social security number. Like the guy was like, when someone's that willing to give you information, yeah, it's not right. So, the total value loss for us will be about $25,000. There's no recourse for it. Because like, I can't go pump the fuel out because these people paid for it. So I'd be stealing back my stolen fuel, and it's just not really worth it.
Stealing back your stolen fuel.
Yeah, and then last week, like I was supposed to go to Matt's, and didn't. And frankly, if I had gone to Matt's, like I shut this down in 36 hours, this would have gone on for a few more days, and we would have been in the hole for $100,000 quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. That's a crazy level of detail to honestly go through a scam, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, hindsight, what do you think you could have maybe done differently? Like if anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, in hindsight, I could have combed through the credit app better. If I had actually called the references, they would have said no, we don't do business with that company. So I always call the references. If I'd called the references, it would have been fine. When the company was approved by my insurance company, I was just like blind, like, because like in my mind, once they say yes, I don't really have any credit risk. So I was really only focused on credit risk, and I wasn't thinking about fraud. So just being in the mindset that everything can look good, but it could still be fraud. And my head set, I'm always thinking when it's time to collect money or issue credit, because I'm basically an unsecured line of credit issuer as a fuel seller. We issue credit to everybody. It's just the nature of our business. We think about ability versus intent. Some people may have the intent to pay, but no ability. And those people are fine because they'll pay you when they can. But the people that are bad are the ones who have the ability, but don't have the intent. And that means that they're fraudulent or they're malicious. And I just wasn't really in that mindset when I saw that they had the credit, supposedly.
Is there any regulation, or just out of curiosity, around the self-lending lines of credit?
Anyone can lend.
Yeah, I guess.
Anybody can lend money. Taking debt, I think, is a little bit different, but lending money, anybody can be a private lender.
Got it. And then in terms of collections, there's really nothing you can then do, right?
Look, I've sent people to collections, and I've tried to sue people. Like, let's say I have like a $20,000 loss on somebody who doesn't have the intent or the ability to pay, and it's time to like go to litigation. There's really no recourse for it. There's the way the U.S. justice system works, just doesn't really help the credit issuer at all. You basically just write it off, and we just know, a few times a year we're gonna get hit. It's just part of the business. And my mindset is I'd rather get beat for a quick 10 than a slow 100. So I used to let people run, and then I would like give them like partial deliveries to kind of keep them engaged, to stop them from buying somewhere else. Because once they do, I'm fucked. So we just try to I drop it just to give them a little bit, just to keep them from going somewhere else. But yeah, there's just really no recourse for it. So now if someone gets out on me on like 10 or 20 grand, I just shut them off. And if I don't collect it, it is what it is. I'd rather just move on to the next client.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing. That's some.
Yeah.
Actually, at one point,
is that the most elaborate scam that you've fallen for?
No, I've had another one. That's the most elaborate like third party scam. The other time I've been hit for worse, I got hit worse than that, worse dollar value than that. But I wasn't actually the one being stolen from. My client was the one being stolen from. So the driver I had at the time would start a delivery, and let's say the client was going to get 4,500 gallons. The driver would start the delivery before he got to the delivery site, put 500 gallons in an owner-operator's fuel, get paid cash for it, and then go to my actual customer and then give them the rest of the 3,500. So the meter ticket would show 4,500. The reconciliation on my side would match. So my driver was actually stealing from the customer, not me. And when we figured it out, we figured it out because another driver ratted him out. The thing about thieves are they always get overzealous. They always need to boast about it or get braggadocious. Like they just can't hide it. So this guy like was telling one of my other drivers about it. And the driver he told had been with us since like the 90s and was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you can't steal from these people. So that guy came up and told me. And when we tallied it, we lost about $112,000 over the course of 6 months while this guy was doing it. And it was the largest fuel customer that I had. It's still the largest fuel customer that I have. And at this time, man, TNR Oil was like the commercial division that I run was very small. Like my EBITDA was maybe $200,000 a year.
Wow.
And yeah, like we were this commercial division was little. I went to my customer heart and hand and gave them a check for $112,000, explained to them what happened, and was just like, I'm so sorry. And I still have the customer 5 or 6 years later. They're my biggest client. They take 20,000 gallons of diesel a week. So, it paid forward, to be honest. They had no idea it was happening. So, I didn't have to do that, but, it pays it forward, to be honest. And my conscience just got the better of me. I could have never walked in and let that happen. But so that stung too. I was a younger guy. I was 24, didn't really know what I was doing, didn't really have the headset for it. Like 30-year-old Dominic's way more poised and like able to like bitch about something for 1% of the time and then focus on fixing it. Back then, like I was a kid. Like I was like just like on way too much coffee,
You were
way too
learning.
much marijuana. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Like I just couldn't handle the stress. So yeah.
Yeah, you're learning getting the business, and just like most of us that start, like you get burned on the beginning, and once you get burned a couple of times, you know how to walk around the fire in the future. So
This is why I laugh at the MBA searchers you see on Twitter who think that they can just buy a business with a fax machine and just inherently run it better because the old person has a fax machine. It's like, yeah, there's some merit to that. But dude, I've learned, like I have forgotten things you haven't learned yet. Like it's not that simple.
Yeah, well, buying I mean, I guess every sort of, wrench type business that all these people are trying to buy, cash flowing businesses, I think the Twitter bros call them. Like everyone has its own version of what you just
Totally
explained. You know what I mean? Like you go buy an HVAC business or a plumbing business or whatever, and there's probably some sort of elaborate scam that you're going to fall for sooner or later.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But then we see stuff like credit card skimmers on our truck stop pumps once in a while. But that stuff's easier because it's like the credit card companies can just stop it.
yeah.
Yeah, well, now you're the victim of freight fraud, just like everyone else. So
I used to think double brokering was a meme.
Yeah.
Nope, real.
That's funny.
Kidding. But yeah, no, I get it. It really stings, and there's just no recourse.
Yeah.
There's no like highway for fuel, is there?
Sorry?
Okay, I guess you might not be familiar with Highway, but Highway is like it's a company that's basically providing authenticity behind MC numbers and US dot numbers. So you can, for example, look up an MC number there, or provide like sign in with Highway, for example. And
I would say what makes my business different is like we basically sell fuel to people who aren't always in trucking. Like we sell fuel to people who just happen to need fuel. So that data is not always there.
Yeah, his customers don't all have MC numbers.
Yeah. Guys, I'm sorry. I got to jump off, but thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming in.
Of course.
Cool. All right, man. Take care. That was a pretty elaborate scam, I must say, to be honest with you. I wasn't able to follow along like some of the way, but eventually I ended up getting what the bulk of that story was. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, people are.
Right now.
It is the funny part about it to me is what he said at the end, which is what I've thought all along about double brokers in general. They're really good salespeople.
Seemingly so, man.
You think about some of these double brokers, especially the ones that like in general freight, like in our domain, who pay carriers, right? Like there's like a couple types of double brokers. Like there's some that are just like don't ever have any intention of actually paying the end carrier, kind of run off into the night, disappear, right?
And then there are the
ones that end up paying the carrier, right? And there's still like fraud involved, potentially all this stuff. But like, if I'm giving you a load you know, if I'm giving a double broker a load, there's a good chance they're taking it for a rate that's like either below market or like it's too easy, right? Like when I was booking freight, it's like if I call somebody on a hard lane that normally takes me, 1,000 calls to cover, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll take it for that 100%. Like, and it's easy. I'm always just like, oh shit, like what's going on here? Like my alarm bells start going. But then those people, if they double broker it, they end up reselling it for less than this already cheap rate that I have. It's like, man, that's impressive, bro. You gotta hire these guys.
Well, I think that if I understand correctly, does GFace actually take a margin on the loads that he brokers, or does
I have no idea what he does.
I think he just has like a subscription model to his clients.
Yeah, I have no clue what that guy's doing.
Okay, so from what I know, then he's like, his clients are basically paying him, I think something like every month they're paying him some amount of money, and it's basically like a subscription. Okay, his clients being like MCs, and so when he double brokers his loads, I don't think he actually takes a margin out of it, but he does double broker it in the sense that like the ultimate shipper doesn't know that GFace was ultimately given that load and expected to take it himself, but then he's giving it to one of his clients, and his business model is that he is supplying you freight. He's not making any money off of it, but ultimately he has a subscription model which is covering his, that margin that he's not taking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and his top of funnel is like workout videos and like a bunch of cash and Lambos. So it's I guess maybe it works. I don't know. Maybe it works.
The problem there really is that the shipper doesn't know that the ultimate shipper doesn't really know that that's taking place.
Well, and it's an insurance issue at the end of the day, right? Like if there's an accident, who's liable? And
right. But you know this problem in the sense that like the transportation network, like the reason that we have brokers is because not like the shipper side of the market, they don't have access to all that capacity. Like the point of brokers is that they aggregate that capacity, those edges of those networks, right? Like we've talked about this before. And so, I mean, to some extent, while 100% I disagree, I think that double brokering is bad. It's just like there is some aspect to it, which is like, hey, if you're having trouble finding capacity and you're trying to get as much access to the edges of the network as possible. Sorry, these hiccups are annoying, but that it's one way to kind of rely on multiple people to find you that capacity. But I don't know if there's a future in where that's actually done legitimately as opposed to not legitimately like it is right now.
Well, I mean, there's definitely I'm not. How do I say this nicely?
Yeah,
there is certainly situations where people know they're being double brokered and they look the other way.
Got it.
Like that's a thing.
Why do you think that is? And why would you say that is?
Because if you're dealing with a third party who's like, and this applies for all the crazy stuff that goes on in this industry, railing freight, consolidation, like partialing truckloads, like all these things, like this happens, and there are entities that have been in business for years that are known to do this. Like if you go look at their freight guards, you go look at whatever, and they still are getting loads, right? People know what's going on in not all the time, obviously. And there are certainly situations where people are getting screwed. And at the end of the day, the worst part about it is when, an owner op doesn't get paid and has to close up shop, right?
Yeah, that's the stuff that's unacceptable, right?
Well, I mean, but that's just what happens, and it sucks. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But like there are lazy brokers out there who call up Joe Schmo Carrier on Illinois to California, and they get a fucking cheap truckload rate, and they know it's going on the rail. Like they know, like nobody, it's not acknowledged, but there's a nod acknowledgement of it, a tacit agreement, if you will.
That it's gonna get
So,
there.
yeah, I mean, look, a lot of shippers say like, oh yeah, no, this needs to go truckload, this needs to go over the road, and like brokers aren't going to rock the boat and be like, well, you really should move it rail. Like, do you actually need it there in 4 days? Like, probably not. So I don't know, man. Like, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of him and hawing about all this stuff, and rightly so. But like, there are definitely people who look the other way. There are.
100%. 100%.
So
I guess last thing that I mentioned, at least it's been a thought of mine, which is like once everything becomes, we're very far from this, but once everything becomes digital, and there's a way to trade maybe these loads electronically, the advantage of being able to trade electronically is that you could potentially tap into multiple edges of the network that you can't access currently, and through multiple different parties. Like if they're willing, what's that meme? We are selling at the market price to the willing buyer or something like that.
yeah.
You know, I don't know. I've just been thinking about that like recently. Like, is there a legitimate path to exchanging loads between multiple parties in the future, where everything is like done legitimately, everything is done properly, chains of custodies are actually managed, and every party's informed about it. But
I think this was basically like what a Convoy had, that thing Convoy for Brokers. I was basically
I
like,
wasn't familiar with it, no.
they had a program that I think was basically like co-brokering, like as a service essentially.
Yeah, okay.
and they like gave brokers access to the capacity on the Convoy app. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
So it seems like even Convoy was like already experimenting.
I don't know if they like, I don't know if they like how long they ran that for or what it was even like, but I remember reading about it. But
did anybody
I imagine
call them a broker for that?
Hold on.
I'm actually genuinely interested in how that worked for them.
Yeah, I somebody who used to work there should tell us about Convoy for Brokers.
All right. Well, we're at the hour mark now, so maybe I don't know if we find out something, we'll bring it up next week. But next week we actually got two guests coming in. We got Jennifer Brennan and and we got also Jason Miller from MSU University. So that's gonna be pretty exciting. Tune in next week. We'll probably be talking a lot about the kind of the aftermath of the bridge collapse as well. But thank you everybody for tuning in this week, and we will see you next time. I don't have the. Oh wait, we got to ring the gong. Hold on.
Want me to do it?
Yeah, do it. That's how the official way we have to exit this. All right. Sounds good, everybody. See you next week.
Peace.